You know, there's a lot of weird sayings I find, like, don't cry over spilled milk. I find it a very bizarre saying, because you often wonder, what are the origins of this sayings? Like, I don't know, with this saying, don't cry over spilled milk, do you think you imagine these two farmers up in Lidl, I don't know where milk comes from, and one of them's just like, hey, I worked 6 hours on this milk and it's spilled everywhere, I'm quite upset about it, I even may shed a tear even. And the other one is like, hey, Jerry, I don't know their actual names, this is a completely made up story, and Jerry, that could be a saying even, what's a saying? I don't know, it could be a metaphor, what's a metaphor? I don't know, I'm making all of these words up as I'm speaking to you. It could be the case of, yeah, it could be the case of, I was talking to you earlier, and I was telling all these secrets I had, and well, I was very interested in learning of these secrets, to the point that I spilled all the beans I had on my kitchen shelf, and they spilled all over the floor. That's another one even. Like, I was even talking about, something that was very juicy, some very juicy gossip, and while I accidentally smashed my cup of tea over my knee. So, in that case, that's another metaphor even, another saying perhaps. That wasn't real. Completely made all that up. You see, I find it very peculiar what's happening right now, because this is pretty much having a bunch of strangers looking at you in your most vulnerable state, because I'm not really myself right now, even stepping out of that, because you're never truly yourself, because that whole saying, you're not really you when you're being watched, I'll demonstrate. Is it working yet? Because that's the thing, I could be improvising right now, and you could only assume I'm improvising by the stuttering I'm saying, the hesitations, the real-time audience reacting to everything I'm saying. I can literally be saying, this is real. No, this is real. This is real. The fact that I'm not looking at you, I feel your presence there, and I find it a tad overwhelming. Because when it comes to theatre, I find it can, any genre of it, it's often autobiographical no matter what, even if you're playing a character, even if you're playing a version of yourself. Another running joke through certain comedians is oh, I had such a bad hangover this morning. I drank so much, it was inconsolable how much I drank. I drank so much, in fact, I don't know who I even am anymore. I often have the opposite to that feeling. Normally, every day, I wake up and go, wow, I drank nothing at all last night. Wow, look at the lack of vomit around my bathroom. This is so convenient, I can't even handle it. Wow, let me check my phone. Oh, I texted nothing because I have no friends. Wow. Wow, that's, I mean, it's kind of sad, but again, the conveniency is through the roof right now. Oh, maybe there'll be any embarrassing Snapchat stories. Oh, it's just the fact I watched Home Alone 2 twice on Netflix. And I see my bottle of Schweppes is still half empty, that's helpful. It's very hard not to come across egotistical in this medium. I'm pretty much forcing you all to look at me right now, and I still want to seem humble about it. It's very difficult because me personally, I never want to come across egotistical or narcissistic. I never want to offend, especially in this instance, having a bunch of people look at me and, at least to me, judge. Because afterwards, I'm probably going to be like, did I say this? Did I come across this way and this way? Even if you're thinking in that moment, I want to come across as sincere as humanly possible, is it even possible? Because, again, I cannot just pretend you're not there. It's very difficult in that instance. Another thing I find very interesting is that if you take certain genres of theatre, because obviously a lot of theatre isn't really grounded in reality, if you took the instance of, like, getting stabbed, it's a bit dark, but I just plucked it out of nowhere, and you combine it with a certain genre, a genre that isn't grounded in reality, pantomime. So imagine, you know, I'm just out and about. Oh, look, I bought the Schweppes bottle again. Off home I go. And then suddenly you have a stabber. I don't know certain terminologies for these sort of things. So yes, he's sneaking behind you, and then you're just going like, oh, look at me on my merry day, and suddenly you just out of nowhere, he's behind you. What? Ow! Oh! Why didn't you warn me? Oh, God. Okay, if I keep pressure on the room, I think it's fine. Oh, no, you're not. What do you mean? Oh, no, you're not. That's really horrible to say. Another thing I find very interesting is it's often hard to sum up a person, because what is theatre but very human, I find. That's just my genuine thoughts on it. It's just me rambling out loud, but like when it comes to theatre, with it being very human, and through that process, how do you define who you are? Because you can't necessarily, most of the time at least, just use one word. Because it always depends on the experience you've had, it depends on what time you woke up in the morning, what you've eaten, how you feel on that particular day. If you just call someone funny, but you expect them to be that all the time, but yeah, you make them feel bad for it not being like that all the time, then sometimes I find it is the case that we put too much pressure on people always being a certain quality of what you expect them to be. Like, if something is bad, if something bad has happened on my day, and you expect me to always be very chipper, but it's always a mix of intentions. That's what I always think is the case. There's always a mix of intentions. What's your favourite food? Blue. Oh, we're done. That's my point for audience and interactivity. Thank you. So I was doing a gig the other day, and I thought a bit of a spur of the moment thing. I just go up to a random audience member and I'd ask, "What's your favourite food?" And they said Coca-Cola, and I said, "That's not a food, silly bean." Am I doing okay so far?
Yes!
Oh, yeah, cool. So anyway, I often wonder about certain sayings about... No, I definitely said that. Now I've got to put it over here now. That was completely genuine. My granddad, or, well, back home, we would call our granddad's grandfather, because originally from Bristol and we say funny things. There's a little bit of autobiographicalness in there, you go. I'm a vessel. Anyway, my grandfather, he was a very peculiar man. He raised pigeons, he would shout at his Tom and Jerry cartoons for the mouse to catch the cat and all that jazz, and he would say good morning to his slippers, or most things. I saw him say good morning to a banana once. I respect him, I hope to beat him. And one day, as a family, we went down to the beach. And my granddad, I would go over and sleep around his house every Saturday. Me, my grandfather, and my nan. They would often make me homemade chips, and I would always have to tell him where on the remote you would have to find the lottery numbers, and he would forget every time. And luckily, their house was like down the road from the primary school, so every time after primary school, I'd go down there. It was quite comforting, really. And so we went down to the beach, and he rented one of those like deck chairs. It literally only cost £5, and he brought it down, and eventually the tide was coming in, so we had to quickly get up our things and run up there, and like, where's Grandpa? And we looked down, and he's still there, and we say, Grandpa, why are you still down there? And he said, I'm getting my money's worth. I do miss him sometimes. Because it was a very amusing thing, but